Let's talk about the Hardanger Fiddle sound posts and the sound holes, or F holes. They're a little bit different from a regular violin, and that can lead to a couple extra little things to think about when you're setting the sound post. So this is maybe an extreme example. As you can see from the top, you don't see an opening like you normally do on a violin. The top of the fiddle is carved so that it opens from the side. Now, most fiddles, this doesn't present any problem. In fact, I can show you right here. Here's a fiddle that I'm in the middle of building, and you have a pretty wide open side. Some makers even go a little bit higher. And you can simply fit the sound post in kind of sideways and set it like you normally would. One of the issues, especially with beginner makers or amateur makers, is that they don't make these openings wide enough to fit a sound post inside. So if you try the same thing, it doesn't fit. Now, I had a similar issue. The first fiddle that I built, I wasn't bold enough to open up those as far as they needed to, but you could still fit about a 5mm sound post inside of it. So that is one option. If they're a little narrow for the typical 6mm sound post, you can make it a little bit thinner and fit it through. But an even better alternative, and something that, you know, on this one you can see I fit a sound post in there, but there's no way I could fit it in the normal way. So I have a plethora of tools here. This is typically all that I ever really need, this and a mirror. But there's a lot of other options, and I'll just demonstrate a few of them and a few techniques that I've come up with. The main idea is that you're going to fit the sound post through the bottom eye, or the top, or even the end pinhole. The bottom's going to be easiest. Once it's in there, there's a couple options. So you just drop it in there. Now you can try to fish in there, look through it, and poke it, and then poke it in, so you'll want to, make your fit it in first, and then you pull it out and drop it in, roll it around, and so forth. That can be a little tricky. Another option, and just it can be tricky because this changes from flat here to flat along here. And so kind of maneuvering it through that hole can get a little tricky, but I've done it. Another option, this is just a piece of coat hanger. So you can take that and use that to poke the sound post, pick it up, and move it around, and then pull it out. The third option that I like to use, this is something I had when I first started to set sound posts and needed a little bit of help. I don't really use it. I don't use it at all anymore, except it is useful in this case because you can see the sound post just is held in by kind of the spring steel. And again, normally on a violin, you just push it through there, and that's a lot easier to kind of maneuver for a beginner. What I do is it's nice and thin, so I can slide it through that opening. And then stick this into that post holder as it's in there. That way it doesn't ever drop on the ground and I never lose control of the post. And then finally, maneuver this around like you normally would. Same thing with retrieving. If you knock it out and need to get it, you can poke it with this tool. You can poke it with your post setter. Another option, you can grab it with one of these. And again, fit this through the bottom eye. This is probably the easiest way to just kind of grab it. Again, kind of that spring steel. And pull it up until it's close, and you can kind of thread it out. And sometimes I use these little bent pliers as well to, you know, once it's out close, if I can't reach my fingers in and grab it, because there's just a tiny little bit, so I'll grab it with that. All those options, all those extra tools, in the end, it can be done with just a post setter. I just wanted to talk about some of these variations. Now, the other important thing to consider with the Hardanger fiddle is that, as you can see, these wings, not only do they open from the side, but they overlap a little bit. That makes it tough. Say you are putting the post setter through that hole. You can definitely, it seems like a lot of really limited mobility. Even, so this one is actually, it's one of those hurting setters that has a nice heavy end. It actually doesn't fit through that. So that's how narrow that is. Again, this is something that hopefully you only have to worry about if it's an amateur maker, but it's far better than doing something destructive like carving out that wing. So just a narrower post setter, you can fit it through. And I usually actually have one going on each side. So there's that side and this side. Now this is difficult because you hit the bass bar in there, and because they're overlapped, you don't have the same range of motion. So what I have to do is actually come around and twist it, kind of feed it through, corkscrew it there, and then I do all my maneuvering through this bottom eye. So that's kind of the general idea. All the maneuvering happens through the bottom eye. It's about getting the tools through there. And the last thing that I always recommend, this is just a strip of LED lights. I use this for violins. And just turn these on and stick them in there. They're great so that you can actually see how well the fit is working and get a really nice, good fit. So just to recap, regular violin, these are the only tools that you really need, and then this one is a really nice one. And you can do the same thing with a Hardanger fiddle. Most Hardanger fiddles, you'll be able to fit it just through like that, no problem. You might run into a little bit of tilt mobility, and if you do, it's a matter of just feeding it through there. I guess on this end, you feed it through, kind of corkscrew it through there, and then you can do all your maneuvering through there. But if you run into this issue where the Soundpost won't fit through that, then you want to keep it at the full 6mm diameter, these are just a couple different strategies, different tools that you may have around that can help with that. And the idea, put it through there, get it inside, then get control of it, either with this or with your post setter. And or alternatively, if you get one of these, these are pretty cheap. You can have control of it all along the process and just feed it in there like that. But the important thing is that these These F holes, these wings, it's very intentional. It's very characteristic of the Hardanger fiddle, and it wouldn't be appropriate to modify those, just like it wouldn't be appropriate to modify the F holes of a regular violin. Hope this helps. Enjoy your work on your Hardanger fiddle.